Good noon, all of you. I welcome you to this session, Fill in the Blanks Made Easy, specifically for MAHCET 2022. You know me, I am Nikita, and these days we've been talking about MAHCET, we've been talking about things like idioms, fill in the blanks, RC passages, we've had some sessions, right? And then we also have this series going on called Grammar Capsule, wherein yesterday we talked about nouns, right? That how you can actually make nouns easy for yourself, right? So we did some questions, we learned some concepts through those questions. That's what we have been doing these days. Good afternoon, Dharmi, Ashish. Good afternoon, Sanil, Vineet, Anuja, sorry. Good afternoon, Samir, Sibha. Okay. So today, why am I specifically talking about fill in the blanks, right? Because in some slots last year, we had as many as 15 plus fill in the blanks questions. That's a lot of fill in the blanks, right? And they were a mix of vocabulary. Quite a few of them were based on vocabulary. However, the vocabulary tended to be easy. It was contextual. It was more contextual vocabulary rather than, let's say, difficult words. Similarly, we did have some fill in the blanks that were based on grammar as well. So that's why the effort is to capture both the kinds of fill in the blanks, right? Thank you, Samir. Thank you. Good to have such rituals. Good afternoon, Avinash, Naman, Ninad, Sweetie. Right. So let's begin with our session. So first I'll give you a question, then we'll talk about how we should approach fill in the blanks, right? And then we'll see different types of questions. We'll see grammar-based FIBs, we'll see vocabulary-based FIBs, right? That's what we are going to do today. So the first question here, as you can see, the words are not at all difficult, right? It's all contextual vocabulary. So fill in the blanks is a scoring topic, right? Because the words are not difficult. If you just understand the surrounding words, you are good to go. Right. Let's see what you say. Question 1. India has a dash system of dash births and deaths under the Registration of Births and Deaths Act 1969. So make use of both the blanks and the options while eliminating. Ashish has answered. Good. Others? Anuja, Sanil. Okay. Samir has also answered. Dharmi. Okay. Okay. And all of you so far have said C. Okay. I have also got an anonymous response. Okay. So C is what all of you have been saying so far. Let's see if it is C. So, neglecting and ignoring, I think these could be very easily eliminated. So, this is an easy question, right? However, if let's say some of the words here turn out to be difficult, then you would have to take the help of both the blanks and all the options. So, we are talking about the Registration of Births and Deaths Act. Under that, we will not ignore births and deaths, we would rather register them, right? So, neglecting, ignoring, recoding, it's a registration act, right? Recoding births and deaths. Can we do that? Recode birth. Okay. No, does not fit. Deleting births and deaths under the registration seems very unlikely, right? So that is why again E is eliminated. Through elimination also you could have done this very easily. Okay. Now, foolproof system. See, foolproof could have fitted here, right? If let's say the system is indeed foolproof, let's say it cannot be misused by anyone, then yes, foolproof would have fitted here. However, because of neglecting, we've already rejected it. Inefficient system or inefficient. See, grammar sometimes helps us a lot. So again, while this was an easy question, sometimes see, grammar can come to your rescue. It should be an inefficient in case inefficient were to be the correct answer, right? So eliminated again. Then a non-existent system of dash. Okay. So in this case also non-existent seems to be relatively extreme. right? We could say that, okay, the system is not very robust, the system is not very efficient. So inefficient, let's say this word fits here, but non-existent, no, this does not fit, right? So eliminated. Then between robust and digitalized. So robust system, you understand, something that's pretty active, pretty flexible, that is robust, pretty resistant also. So active, flexible, resistant, that is robust, right? Digitalized system also fits here. Digitalized fits here. It could be a digitalized system, but because of the second blank, we are rejecting it. So that's why I began with the second blanks, because I somehow realized that the second ones are the easier ones to eliminate, right? So go by this, and I think you should not face a problem. So if you see, the strategy that we applied in attempting this question was, we first read the full sentence, right? We paid attention to the surrounding words. So registration of births and death act, right? Birth and Death Act. Then grammatical clues also came to our rescue. Grammatical clues also came to our rescue. It may not always happen, but do look out for such clues. Elimination was how we primarily attempted it, and sometimes grouping may help. I'll show you how. Okay, we have questions ahead. I'll show you how grouping various options together can actually help you. Right. So this should be your strategy while attempting these questions. As I said, these are easy questions, nothing very difficult here, right? Okay. Let's have a look at the second question for the day. Due to the dash of a strong supportive infrastructure, Indian women are forced to choose between career and dash responsibilities. Right. Pay attention to the context. Let's see, fastest fingers first. Okay, Ashish has answered and he says B. Aruna has answered. She also says B. Okay. Tanil A. Dharmi B. All right. Kushi B. Okay. Okay. All right. Sunil has deleted the answer. Okay. I really like this feature of retracting your messages. I see so many students retracting their messages all the time. A, B. Okay. 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 So basically A and B. That's what you say. So, if, however, you are saying A, if a strong supportive infrastructure is present, then why would women be forced to make a choice? If, let's say, various offices, they have this crèche facility, right? There are strong daycare facilities present in the country. If they are present, then women will not be forced to choose between career and familial responsibilities, isn't it? So A goes against what my sentence is trying to say. A goes against the context. B is the answer. Good. Most of you are correct here. B is the answer. There is a lack of strong supportive infrastructure, right? The lack of a strong supportive infrastructure, that is what is forcing Indian women to make a choice between career and familial responsibilities. The adjective form of family is familial, right? So what kind of responsibilities? Familial responsibilities. I hope this makes sense. What does this word mean? Yes, what does this word mean? So we have some relatively difficult words here. Yes, tell me. So here paucity, I think, is something that you may have read, let's say, in your economics books, right? Paucity of resources. Yes. So paucity is the lack of something, right? So paucity actually fits in the first blank. Paucity means the lack of something, right? The when something is present in very meager amounts, we say that there's a dearth of this thing, there's a paucity of this thing. So dearth is a synonym. Dearth, paucity, right? Scarcity, lack, all are synonyms. Now, how about this other word? First of all, how do I pronounce it? Is it onerous or is it onerous? What is it? Yes, tell me. Onerous or onerous? The onerous task or the onerous task? How do I pronounce it? And what kind of a word is it? Is it positive? Is it negative? Yes. The onerous task, see, the onerous task is actually a burdensome task, something that requires a lot of effort on your end. That sort of a task is called an onerous task, right? So this means something that is burdensome. Burdensome is a synonym, right? So career and burdensome, see, we are talking about two kinds of responsibilities. So career and then some responsibility in another arena. So this one does not fit at all, right? Then parental responsibilities, usually, see, it's not just a parental responsibility that any individual has. It's the entire family's responsibility that would come into the picture when choosing between, let's say, work life balance. Career oriented does not fit again, right? What is reinforcement? Reinforcement, burden, negative. Okay, okay, okay. Yes. What is reinforcement? Tell me. This is a psychological concept also. Onerous. Yes. Could you hear the pronunciation? Let me just play it for you. Onerous. So it says onerous. Okay, not onerous. Right? This is the UK pronunciation that you've been listening. I hope it was audible to you. Okay. Support. Reinforcement is support. Okay. To bring something into force again. Yes. So if I actually break this word, then reinforcement is that you are trying to enforce something, you are trying to do something again and again. So what's the purpose behind it? Reinforcements are also, so let's say the military has got all the reinforcements that it needed, right? So different meanings, right? So reinforcements in the military sense would mean extra supplies that they get to support their operation, right? In psychology, reinforcement is that when you do something again and again as a stimulus, okay, in order to, let's say, motivate your employee, to motivate someone. So again, the idea is to do something again and again in order to motivate. That is again reinforcement. So in psychology, there are two kinds of reinforcement, positive and negative, right? If, let's say, you for achieving something extra, if you incentivize your employees, that's a positive reinforcement. If for not achieving it you punish them, that's a negative reinforcement, right? So that is the meaning of reinforcement. Hope this is clear. So one word can have multiple meanings. Yes, it's a positive word. Good. See, now you yourself are actually focusing on this, whether a word is positive or negative. This is a very good way of actually grouping words. What I talked about in the strategy slide, that you group words. So if reinforcement is a positive word, then due to the reinforcement of a strong supportive infrastructure cannot come here, right? Because reinforcement is to support, to strengthen. Okay, that is the idea. All right, all right. Okay, good. So I hope the meanings of all these words are clear to you now, right? Reinforcement, supporting, strengthening, onerous, something that's burdensome, paucity, lack of something, right? And the answer here was lack, familial, which is option B. Okay, backing again means support. Backing again means support. Okay, perfect. Let's come to the next question then. Yes, let's see what you say. Fastest fingers first again. Okay. So Ashish says C, Praveen says C, Ayush says A. The rest of you have marked C. All right. So a lot of you saying C. Okay, okay. Let's have a look. To reduce Sachin Tendulkar to just a player doesn't do dash. So this is such a common expression again. It doesn't do justice to him or her, right? It doesn't do justice, and this justice could be to anybody or anything, right? To a person, to a thing, right? So let's say if you're not listening to me attentively, you're not doing justice to the lecture. Yes? So doesn't do dash. Now, justice, yes, it fits, right? What is foul? Yes. Is it foul? Is it foul? Yes. Is it foul? Is it foul? What is the difference between the two? Commonly confused words. Yes. How do I pronounce this? Foul. 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 It is pronounced as foul. Foul play, right? Foul play. So something in sports also we say this, no, ये foul हो गया, right? So foul is how it is pronounced. Again, I'm giving you UK pronunciation, right? How about FOWL? FOWL, and what does it mean? So these are homophones. What are homophones? Two words that have the same pronunciation. Okay, two words that have the same pronunciation. So this is also foul, this is also foul, but the meanings are a world apart, right? While foul means something that's immoral, right? Foul play. I suspect foul play, right? And it also means something that's a penalty in sports. Let's say something that you were not supposed to do in sports. This, however, refers to domestic birds, right? Birds that we raise for their eggs, right? A hen, a cock. So that is FOWL wala foul. Foul language, correct, correct. Disgusting, correct, correct. So, and group of birds is foul. Yes, yes, correct. Basically, the hens, the cocks that people raise or domesticate, that one. So doesn't do foul to his, doesn't do a penalty to his. That does not make a sense, right? Make any sense actually. Doesn't do equity. No, justice is a better term here. Okay, rather than equity. What is equity though? Yes, tell me. What is equity? One meaning is, of course, the commerce, the finance meaning, right? Equity shares, right? So the shares that are issued by a company, usually companies issue equity shares, wherein if you buy that share, you have a stake in the proportionate profits of the company, right? That is one meaning. I am talking about the justice wala equity ka meaning, that meaning. Yes. How is it different from equality? How is equity different from equality? Let's say, let's say you need shoes. Yes, all of you need shoes. Now, all of you have a different shoe size, right? So if I buy a shoe of the size 5 and give it to all of you, that would be equality. But will that fulfill your purpose? I have given the same shoe size to everybody, right? But it's not fulfilling your purpose. So equality is when you give the same things to everybody. Equity is when you give to people what they need. Yes, it's fairness, as somebody has said, it's fairness, right? So if someone needs a 4 shoe size, you give them 4. If someone needs 5, you give them 5. So you give people according to their needs. That's the idea of equity, right? However, this idea does not fit here, doesn't do equity. It should be doesn't do justice. Okay. Then what is colossal? I hope now you've got the difference between equity and equality, because whenever I ask the meaning of equity, a lot of times students say equality, right? But the two are different concepts. All right. So when we talk about gender equality, some people say that, gender equality Mm, why are we even talking about equality there? The two genders or the multiple genders today, they are different, right? So why are we talking about equality? The idea how the UN defines it, the idea is that initially you provide them with equity, basically because some of the genders have been discriminated against more as opposed to the other genders. So initially you provide them equitable things, right, so that they come on the same platform and then they will be equal. The ultimate goal is equality. The way to reach it is through equity, right? Colossal is something that's mammoth, big, huge, enormous. Absolutely correct. All of you are correct. Anuja, Naman, Ashish. Good. Anonymous. Right. So, okay. Imposing, an imposing structure. Again, a very big structure, such that it sort of intimidates you. That's an imposing structure. Towering, again, when something towers over you, when something towers above you, that means again it's a big, big structure, right? So we are talking about stature here. What is stature? We're not talking about any structure here, any building here. His towering stature, the reputation that he has, right? The reputation that he carries, that is his stature. Okay, so his towering stature that packs in crowds all over the world, right? That is why people come to see him, because of his towering stature. So C is the answer here. What is diminutive? Diminutive appears related to diminished, diminish, right? Diminutive. So it has to be something that is not very huge, yes, yes, and therefore it does not fit. So something that's small is diminutive. Something that is small is diminutive. So doesn't do justice to his towering, not diminutive, right? And packs in crowds. Somebody is asking the meaning of this. Packs in crowds. That means that brings in crowds. His, let's say, the stadiums in which he plays are packed with crowds, right? That's the idea. So that packs in crowds all over the world. Okay, that brings in the crowds from all over the world. That's the idea. Hope these words are clear to you now. So far, see, in just 3 questions, we've talked about different words. So here the words were pretty easy. It was your first question, right? Then we talked about words like onerous, paucity, reinforcement, and how it can mean different things in different scenarios, right? Then we talked about imposing, colossal or colossal, right? And diminutive. Yes, the last one. We also learned the difference between equity and equality, and how foul and foul are homophones, right? All right. Coming to the next question. A political speech that takes aim at opponents through satire, parody, or even by generating a sense of dash may offend people's sensibilities. But these are not reasons to dash an individual of his or her or their freedom, right? So, what do you say? Let's see. Diminutive, yes, it can mean trivial also. Correct, correct. Let's see what you say for this one. Okay. Puneet, when you say a man of short stature, you are using the word literally. Stature literally means height. Literally, stature means height. The metaphorical meaning is reputation. It's so strange that, the height of a person is associated, like we are associating height with reputation here, right? So, pretty strange. A, B, C, D, E. Okay, I've got everything here, everything. So, the more you read, the better sense you have of the meanings of various words. For instance, let's say we were discussing reinforcement, right? So while some of you said that, okay, strengthening, supporting, encouraging, which is the meaning of reinforcement? Because I had read it in a military context also, so I realized that okay, the extra supplies, because they're meant to support the soldiers. That's why they're called military reinforcements. So same way, the more you read, the better sense of the varied use of words you get. Right now, for instance, Puneet said a man of short stature. He must have read it somewhere, so that's why he realized, okay, no, there is another meaning to it. Right? Okay, so satire, parody, we understand what they are. Satire, it's a figure of speech. Yes, it's a way, it's a writing device of a way of telling stories wherein you employ sarcasm, you mock, right? There's humor involved. The idea is to highlight a flaw. Yes, this could be a societal flaw, it could be a political flaw. That is satire. There's this segment called So Sorry on a news channel, that is a satirical piece, right? Parody, again, when you make fun, usually movies have parodies when you make fun of movies. Yes, and again, you try to show how, let's say, some things were pretty unrealistic there, or you exaggerate some of the things that happened in the movie. That is a parody. It also works for written pieces, for plays, etc. So, when we have such words, satire, parody, or even by generating a sense of, can such words come, justice, fair play, these cannot come then, no? We're talking about sarcasm, we're talking about mocking here. So, B and C should have been outrightly eliminated. Okay, B and C should have been outrightly eliminated. Now, uh, but these are not reasons to dash an individual. I think the second blank is much easier. I'm saying that okay, when you indulge in satire, when you indulge in parody, it may offend some people, which happens, let's say, because the satire is mocking, right? Parodies are mocking. So it may offend people, but these are not reasons to actually take away that freedom from an individual. So deprive is the only word that fits here in the second blank. Not relieve. You relieve someone of their responsibilities, not of their rights. So eliminated. Then negate an individual. You can negate their rights, right? But you can't negate an individual of their freedom. In the sense of an expression, when you look at it as an expression, it is incorrect. Nullify, again, when you neutralize something. Okay, no. Gift, not at all. Opposes the context. Right. Now, looking at these words, nostalgia, all of us understand? Nostalgia. It actually comes from two words. Those who have read Word Par Made Easy would know this. Nostos and algia. Yes. Okay. So Samir is asking, is reading a book for 1 hour enough? See, the idea is that just start. Okay. Even if you're reading for half an hour a day, that's fine. Gradually, your reading speed will increase. If you're reading it for 1 hour a day, very good. Okay. However, what is enough, what is not, I am no judge of that. For your examination purposes, if you're reading consistently for 1 hour every day, that is more than enough. Okay. The idea is that you should be reading with concentration. Okay. You should indulge in reading with a sense of urgency and not leisurely reading. That those things go with that. Right? Okay. Now, nostalgia, yes. So, nostos actually means home. If I look at the etymology of this word, the origin of this word, algia means pain. Algia means pain, right? So, a pain for home, right? You are aching for home. So, yes, basically, probably you are away from your home. That's the idea. And therefore, you're aching for your home. So, nostalgia is, yes, when we reminisce the past, right? When we think about the past and the fond memories, okay, in a very emotional way, that is nostalgia. Okay, there were times when nostalgia was considered to be a disease, when people didn't know much about the psychological reasons for nostalgia. uh, it first appeared in soldiers, the phenomenon of nostalgia, when they were fighting on the borders away from their homes. This feeling first appeared in soldiers, so they were considered sick. Okay, it was felt that they were sick, and different countries responded differently to this disease in people, in their soldiers. For instance, Russia killed some of those soldiers, right? I think the US decided to send some of them back home. So a lot of confusion reigned over this till the time it was discovered that this is a natural psychological phenomenon. Anyway, so reading stories about words actually makes them dearer to you, okay, makes them appear closer to you. You are able to remember them for longer periods of time. Indignation. Indignation. This tion is used when I want to convert something into a noun. This in is a negative prefix. Okay. You can find it in dignity also. So when you feel that somebody has insulted your dignity, let's say, indignation, a feeling of humiliation. Okay, that is indignation. Particularly, it's a public humiliation that you might have experienced. When you are angry about that, you are indignant about that. So, anger at some humiliation, at some injustice, that is indignation. Okay, anger at some sort of humiliation. That's when you experience indignation, anger, outrage. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, Ayush, unfortunately, it was an extreme measure, but that is what Russia did. I read this in an article in Eon. Okay, so I read this thing about nostalgia there and it just stuck somehow, right? It's not every day that you read about people being killed because of nostalgia. So the answer here is D, outrage. Yes, outrage and deprive. Deprive is to take away, outrage is anger. So D is our answer here. And we learnt about words such as indignation and the history of nostalgia. Okay, coming to question 5. I hope you've been finding the questions to be easy, not very difficult questions. As I said, fill in the blanks are usually not very difficult question types. Something that we saw in MAHCET last slot last year. A lot of fill in the blanks, but most of them were easy. So they became very scoring for students. Question 5. Let's see what you say. Ashish says A. Just one blank now. So we've done some questions with 2 blanks. Let's take a breather and let's attempt a few questions with just 1 blank. What is augment? I have to check her out. I haven't really. Does she have videos? Ayush? I'll see and then let you know. A, C, D. Okay. For vocabulary and idioms. Okay. So, Sanskriti, for vocabulary, I have suggested the book to you, Word Par Made Easy. If you are done with it, there is another book in the market, 30 Days to a More Powerful Vocabulary. Okay, that is one. So usually people who've completed Word Par Made Easy then go for it, right? Then I have also suggested this app to you, Vocabulary Builder by Magoosh. Vocabulary Builder by Magoosh. It will add a lot of words to your current pool, right? And apart from this, any other books that I know of? Actually, there's a handbook of Magoosh itself that is available online for free. Okay, there's this handbook of vocabulary that they have. It mostly has these words that are there in vocabulary builder, but then you could consider it if, let's say, you don't want to engage in it through the app, you could consider this handbook. It's free of charge, okay, for everybody. So these would be some of my suggestions for vocabulary per se. Now coming to idioms. Again, see, if let's say you're looking for websites, then I have already suggested this website to you in the past. However, it's very, very comprehensive, very detailed. It has a list of A to Z idioms and they just seem infinite. So if you want something more concise, in that case, I have told you, Then and Martin has a chapter on idioms, which lists some idioms along with sentences. So that's the good thing. You're just not cramming them, you're just looking at their usage in some sentences. And a lot of times you realize you already know this idiom, right? So that's one. Then there's this app that I have these days that I've been using. Let me just tell you. For idioms, yes, it's called idioms and phrases, right? Idioms and phrases. So this is one app that I've been using these days. I have also suggested vocab 24 to you in the past. So I think more than, let's say, buying books for idioms, you can actually refer to online sources, online content, right? So these would be my suggestions. Okay, okay. All right, Ayush. I'll see that. Now, coming to this question, yes, consistently underestimating inflation will also raise questions over the central bank's forecasting abilities and dash its credibility. So we are raising questions over something. So definitely it's not going to enhance the credibility. That's not going to happen. So see, by grouping, I can eliminate, augment, and accentuate. Positive words will not come here. Augment again, increase, accentuate again to emphasize, increase. Eliminate it. Eradicate is extreme. Eradicate. We eradicate diseases. We eradicate negative things. Credibility is a positive trait to have. Yes. So does not fit contextually and otherwise also. Uh, Erase. Credibility is not something that's written somewhere that you will erase it. It will, and moreover, erase is again extreme. It is extreme. Erode, yes, basically reduce, decrease. Erosion is a reduction in the soil cover. Yes. So that's what I mean. A. Everybody, I think, was correct here. No, some of you did say B and D, but then A is the one that fits here. All right, all right. Again, one blank, easy question. The possible undoing of Roe versus Wade in US. It should be the possible undoing of Roe versus Wade in the US. Okay. The possible undoing of Roe versus Wade in the US will not just dash the right to abortion, but will also signal a dangerous backsliding on hard won freedoms, going back, regressing. So again, I need a negative word here. Let's see what you say. C. Okay. A. All right. Okay, tell me something. Is it free of charge or is it free of cost? So let's say somebody is giving you something for free. What would you say? I got this free of cost or I got this free of charge? Or what should the business person say? This is, ma'am, this comes to you free of cost or this is free of charge. Good afternoon, Vishakha. EDAC, all right. So, free of cost is accepted, okay, because it's so prevalent in its usage, it is accepted. You will find it in some of the dictionaries. However, technically speaking, if let's say you want your English to be flawless, meticulous, in that case you should say free of charge. Because anything that has been produced, right, anything that the manufacturer is giving to you, he or she has incurred some cost there, right? So it's not free of cost for them, so to say. It's free of charge for you. They're not charging you for it, right? So free of charge is a better term any day as compared to free of cost, right? Okay, okay, good. So free of charge, free of cost, acceptable. I'm not saying it's wrong. It is acceptable, but better term is free of charge. So the answer for this one, A, C, D, E, everything. I've got almost everything. Okay, I've got B also. Okay. So it is going to hamper this right? It is definitely not going to, let's say, boost this right in any manner. Now the thing is that this, and I mean basically these two, they are negative terms here. Entail means to require, involve, okay, something that is. So for instance, the repairs to this house will automatically entail whitewashing the house again. They'll automatically require that if we make repairs to this house. Let's say such major repairs are needed. So entail means require. So the possible undoing of something. Yes, undoing of Roe versus Wade. So when something is undone, okay, that means that basically when we say this was his undoing, this was the beginning of his or her failure. So when we're talking about a case, so probably something is happening in the case, some negative fallout, right? Some sort of a downfall has been brought about. Some sort of a questioning has been brought about. Maybe the case has been challenged. That has happened. So that is undoing. So here entail means yes, involve also. Entail means involve also. For instance, again when I say that that repairs to this house will entail whitewashing the house, that means they involve it. So involve, comprise, require, necessitate, need, all are synonyms of entail. Okay. Okay. Now distress, we understand, right? Distress, if someone is in distress, it's a distress call. So it relates to extreme stress, that is distress. So distress the right to abortion doesn't make sense. When we talk about it for a right, it will distress that right. The right will become stressed, is it? So distress in this context, extreme anxiety, extreme let's say stress does not make sense, and that's why this is eliminated. Distend. Anybody who's from a medical science background, distension, distend, it means swell. Okay, something that swells. So distend the right, swell the right to abortion, no. Eliminated. Equate, we are not equating it to something, we are not calling it equal to something. Eliminated. There was only one option that fitted here, which was A. Okay, so let's see how many of you marked A here. Chetan, Neenad, Naman, Anuja, Anonymous, Rishabh, Aruna, Raj, Ashish. Good, good. C was the other popular option after A, but C, no, distress does not fit in this context, although both are negative words. Right? Hope this is clear. Any queries so far you can ask me. Curtail, yes, what is to curtail? To curtail something from happening. Okay, to curtail something is to basically suppress it, to make it brief, that is to curtail it, right? To stop something, to put restrictions on it, that is curtail. Yes, distension can be associated with bloating as well. Correct, Raj. Correct, correct. To reduce, to restrict, to sometimes even deprive. Okay, so that's why I said stop also fits here. Hope this makes sense to everybody. Any questions so far? Ask me. Shorten, cut down. Correct, correct, correct. All of these are synonyms. Seventh question. The current Prime Minister's assent. Now see, assent, accent, right? Assent. All three are different words. Yes? Tell me their meanings. The first, assent. What does it mean? Remember ascending order, descending order from your school. Arrange these numbers in an ascending order. Ascend, increase. Ascent is the noun form. Ascent is increase or rise. Right? So this is the noun. Ascend would be the verb. With a D, we'll have the verb. Accent, we all understand. English accent, the English accent, the British accent. Okay, so accent, the way, your slang, the way you pronounce something. Assent, yes. She gave her assent. She gave her assent to the takeover. Okay, to the proposal, let's say, if we are talking on a personal front. So ASSENT. Climb, yes, climb also fits with the first assent. Correct, correct, correct. Then, yes, assent. ASSENT is to basically say yes to something, to agree with something, right? So, what's the difference between consent and assent? That's the question then. Difference between consent and assent. Consent and assent. Again, two commonly confused words. See, when you have to give your permission to something, right? For instance, when let's say somebody is undergoing an operation in the hospital, the family members give their consent to it, right? So it's more of a formal thing that requires giving your permission to something, okay? Used more in legal contexts. That is consent. Assent is expressing your approval, expressing your agreement towards something, right? This may have been a process of simple discussions that you have basically come to agree with the other person. So consent is used in more formal contexts where giving permission is required in legal contexts, right? Assent, on the other hand, is a usually a result of discussions, deliberations, and basically now you agree to something, right? So for takeover, let's say if her permission was required, then the better word would be consent. Proposal, if it's of a personal nature, let's say this person had been trying to convince her and now she said yes. Okay, so then the word here is assent. I hope this makes sense now, the difference between consent and assent. Okay, okay. Approve is assent, correct, Naman. Permission for consent, correct, correct. Okay, good, good. Permission and agree. Ashish, Raj, absolutely. Uh, Consent is used in personal context also. Ashish Jha is saying that it's personal. It is used in a personal context also, but it's more about your giving permission to something, right? In your personal context as well. Okay, so anyway, this discussion stemmed from this word. The current Prime Minister's ascent, rise to power, has not just brought about a more positive, okay, more, ये तो लिखा हुआ है positive, and, so I need a positive word here, and dash form of Indian diplomacy, but has also resulted in what may be called personalized diplomacy. So let's see what you say. C, B, all right. Yes, correct, Ayush. The consent of both the partners is very important for a successful relationship. Mutual consent, as we call it. So, C, B, what about others? Yes, come on. Tell me. Very easy question. The answer is nuanced. Absolutely. Okay, so nuanced will be the answer because I need a positive word here. And if you see, most of the other words here are negative, isn't it? So, if you look at weakened, negative. To dilute something again is to decrease the intensity of it, negative, right? Toxic, negative. Noxious, harmful. Noxious means harmful. Obnoxious is somebody who's mean and wicked. Noxious is something that is harmful. So a noxious disease, a noxious infection. So nuanced is the only one that fits, which means something that's subtle, something that has intricate details to it. So the answer is C here. I hope I said C only and not B. Right. C is the answer. C. Okay. Not dilute. Not dilute. Okay. So C is the answer. I hope this is clear. Not B. Dilute is to basically reduce the concentration of something. Yes, a scientific concept. Something that is concentrated is not diluted. So when you dilute, let's say a policy, you reduce its effectiveness. Okay, when you dilute something, you reduce its effectiveness, intensity. So I hope you've been enjoying the session. Now, see, now we have some good words here. So I've been talking to you about common confusables. Look at these words, very similar. Portentous, precocious, precarious, predictable, perspicacious. The question is, which one of the following words, there is one word here that fits in all the three blanks. One word fits in all the three blanks. Tell me which is that word. Yes. To irk is to irritate. To irk is to irritate. Right. Let's see what you say for this. Just recall the dictionary meanings of these words or some context where you've heard these words and the answer will come to you. Let's see. Okay. Got some responses. B, C. Mostly C's I've got. Okay. A also. One A also I've got. The truck was stuck in a dash way with its front wheels hanging over the bridge. Such a dangerous situation to be in, yes? Many small businesses find themselves in a dash financial position as the pandemic continues. Of course, it's a bad financial situation, a bad financial position. Employment is dash and unstable. So, negative word is needed in all of these, right? As the economy is shrinking in the continuing pandemic. It's definitely not predictable. If I'm calling it unstable, it's definitely not predictable, right? Now, you needed to know the meanings of the other words. So, I got nuanced is something that's subtle. Nuanced is something that takes care of the subtleties. For instance, there are small little details to everything which might not be noticeable but which make a big difference. Those are called the nuances of a particular thing, right? So, for instance, in the English language has a lot of nuances to it. English grammar has a lot of nuances to it, right? For instance, free of charge, free of cost. Yes, that was a nuance that I discussed with you. Okay, so we were discussing that predictable does not fit here. Now, what's a portent? Portent. Portent is an omen, right? A bad omen. We call so some portentous is something that's ominous, something that predicts something bad for the future, something that is premonitory in nature. Premonition bolte na, so the adjective is premonitory, right? So it was they find themselves in a portentous financial situation. The employment is portentous and unstable. It is ominous and unstable. For employment, this does not make sense, right? Ominous and unstable. Okay, sounds like a sort of word that would fit with more, let's say, with stronger sentences, not with something that's an economic concept. Precocious child, precocious children. You can use it for, let's say, the kids in your family if they are precocious. Somebody who's wise beyond his or her age, intelligent beyond his or her age. That child is called precocious, right? So precocious does not fit anywhere here. It's a positive word. Perspicacious is again a positive word. Perspicacious. Let's see if anybody has given me the meaning of this. Dangerous, uncertain, both are the meanings of precarious. Correct, correct. So precarious is the answer. Absolutely correct. Precarious means dangerous, uncertain. So that's why it fits in all of these blanks. Precarious. Now, why is perspicacious not the answer? Let's see. Again, let's go back to etymology. Perspicacious. Again, this CIOUS, basically this OUS is something that we use when we want to convert something into an adjective. Basically, it means having the quality of. Per means through. Spic means to see. So, perspicuous, there are two words, perspicuous and perspicacious. Both are different words in their own right. Both come from the same roots. Perspicuous is something that's very clear, that you can see through, something that's very transparent. Transparent. Perspicacious is a person who can see through things, a very discerning person, an intelligent person who can see through things. Okay, so that's the meaning of the two words. So perspicacious is again a positive word. It's a good trait to have, to be a discerning person, and that's why this is not the answer, right? So I have actually, how I learned these two words, because they're very similar. This means clear, this means clever. So clear versus clever, perspicuous versus perspicacious, right? That's how I have learned these. Hazardous, uncertain, precocious, children showing early signs of development, correct? Mental development. Okay. Yes, what does this word mean? Spectre. Spectre. Yes. Positive word, negative word. The spectre of, let's say, some evil person. The spectre of the partition, the spectre of the 1947 partition is still over us. Yes. Spectre in a literal sense means ghost. Okay. And in a metaphorical sense, it means something that's a sort of a shadow, a bad shadow, a menacing shadow, something that's threatening. So that is what spectre means. Right? What is Odin? Yes. Positive word, negative word. What do you think? Odin. Hmm. So these. I think you probably read it in some mythological series or in some novels that are of the nature of fantasy. So Odin is the name of a god, right? So the supreme god in this European mythology. Okay, I forget the exact which mythology it is, but yes, the supreme god there, the topmost god there, his name was Odin. Okay, all right, all right. Looming fear, correct, correct. Ashish. Words, okay. Vocabulary, yes, we are planning a series actually, Vishakha. So what we'll do is we'll have a series called, let's say, vocabulary, and a particular day we'll attach to it. So every day of the week, I mean, in every week that day, we'll have vocabulary sessions. That's what we are planning. Okay, so don't worry. Yes, now let's come to grammar quickly. Just two more questions to go on grammar, right? So last time also we had more questions on vocabulary. That's why I covered one blank, two blank, and even three blank vocabulary words with you. Now, come to this grammar question here. It's a preposition question. Tell me what should come here. Yes. The leader realized that investing dash personal relations makes a difference dash relations between states. So these are the names of guns. Okay. Thor's father. Okay, Thor's father is Odin. Okay, I need to see the movie. Yes. Thor is the god with the hammer, right? I have seen that movie. Yeah, yeah, I have seen Thor's movie. I just don't remember it. B-E, all right. D, okay. So you invest in something, you invest in a particular financial instrument, in a particular asset. So the first one has to be in, and then it just becomes a no-brainer, right? Invest in personal relations makes a difference in the relations between states, right? It makes a difference in relations between the states, right? So others just don't fit. Others don't fit. Okay, somebody said A also and D also. You don't invest with something, you don't invest on something. Difference for relations is wrong. Okay. Makes a difference to something would make sense. You, let's say it made a difference to the situation. His efforts made a difference to the situation. But when we are again talking about relationships, so you make a difference in those relations, right? So in is the appropriate preposition for relations. Okay, another easy one. Let's see what you say. Any options? How can we mark the right answer? Okay. So Omkar, see, for that only I suggested that focus on grammatical clues also and focus on grouping. So for instance, there in the case of precarious, I needed a negative word. So all the positive words just went out of the window right then, right? So grouping, elimination, and grammar clues. These are the ones that will help you when you, let's say, do not know the meanings of various options, right? Ultimately, sometimes you are able to narrow down to two options, one option, then you are lucky. Sometimes you're not, then you'll have to make a random guess and proceed. Right? Very good, Ashish. BAE. Okay. Supreme Court's insistence. You insist in something, you insist also. Reduce these, just dilute these sentences. Simplify these sentences for yourself. He insisted, he insisted dash coming to the party, let's say. So he insisted on coming, he insisted in coming, he insisted at coming. Naturally, it should be on coming. He insisted on something. So, right at this juncture, you have solved this. Supreme Court's insistence on proportionality in vaccine mandate, in vaccine official order, is good advice and a cautionary note. Right? Supreme Court's insistence on proportionality in vaccine mandate is good advice. Okay. And a cautionary note. So, A is the answer here. Hope this makes sense to everybody. Just simplify sentences for you in preposition questions. Recall the usage. You might have read this somewhere or the other. Yes. And that's how you can attempt this. Also, do read. I have told you from Ren and Martin, you can attempt some questions on prepositions. That's any day a good strategy. Fill in the blanks are given there. So attempt those. ठीक है? To improve English language for exam and also speaking. So Dhanshri, the way to become better English speakers is not from reading a book. It's to speak. It's to converse in English, right? And the idea is that, see, there are different components to it. So for grammar, I have suggested you a book. For vocabulary, I have suggested you a book. For listening, you do not need any book. You need to listen to, let's say, some news. You need to watch some shows, let's say, right? Then for if you want to improve at writing in English, once you, let's say, you've learned your grammar right, once you've added some vocabulary to your pool, then practice writing. So you have to apply different techniques. Just reading from books is going to help you only to a limited extent. So read, write, speak, listen. These are the four elements to any language, to learning any language. Okay, so go for a multi-pronged approach. Welcome, welcome, welcome all of you, right? And you know about our course. I explained about it yesterday as well. And yes, you can connect with us on the Telegram channel, right? BYJU'S MBA Doubts. And yes, I'll see you now on Tuesday. Okay, so now we'll meet on Tuesday at 12 p.m. with another session and with some new things to learn. Okay, welcome. Bye. Okay, ठीक है आयुष. Just doing that right away. Okay, bye.